specifically for young women and promoting STEM education, which is crucial for their future careers, establishing mentorship networks in our various constituencies is vital. We can create such platforms in grassroots where young women connect with experienced leaders who can guide them in their professional journeys. This support can integrate their aspirations and provide them with the tools they need to succeed. In addition, creating financial support mechanism for women entrepreneurs can stimulate economic growth in innovation. Last but not least, it is essential to involve communities in the conversation about women and girls' empowerment. We can host workshops, forums that raise awareness and encourage local action. Engaging men and boys in this dialogue, it is equally important to foster a culture of respect and equality. In Zimbabwe, the Women's Caucus works closely with the He for She champions so that we all on the same page when it comes to women's and girls' empowerment. In conclusion, empowering women and girls in Zimbabwe is not merely an aspiration, it is a necessity for our nation's growth and prosperity. As legislators, we hold keys to unlocking this potential. Let us commit creating a future where every girl has the opportunity to lead, to dream, and to make difference. Together, we can build more equitable society that honors the strength and the capabilities of all its members. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Simbanda. I think to conclude, basically is to actually highlight the role of legislators in ensuring that they are able to support initiatives like the Amazon Leadership Initiative. And at least I've gotten some support that we're going to be hosting our next year's forum in Zimbabwe, and we're going to continue the conversation by the side. I think on that note, I'd like to say thank you so much. If there are any questions, either to the young female leaders or to the parliamentarians who spoke, I would say over to you, the audience, if there are any questions or even statements of support towards the programs and initiatives. On that note, thank you very much.
One question.
Thank you very much, Mary, and the young women and the beautiful adult young women. We are so inspired, and we thought we're gonna go back and be young. It's just one question for me to you, Mary. I just want to check, you are saying your mentorship program is targeting young women, ages 29 years and below. I just want to understand, where are you benchmarking the 29 years, especially as a young Nigerian in South Africa, because our young people are at age 35 years. Why are you benchmarking at 29 years? Where are you basing that? So that you do not confuse our young generation as they grow older in terms of where does the young period ends. That is the only thing that I just want to understand. And the second question that I was going to ask, unfortunately, my very beautiful Stufusa there answered that question in her presentation. I wanted to check the mentorship program, how much it goes in terms of assisting the young people going on and on and on, and the follow-up programs. But fortunately, she answered those questions that I was having. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. That's a very good question. The African Union age range for the youth is 18 to 35. So you want to know, maybe you're having a Mary youth age range.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I want to welcome you to Zimbabwe, and we'll work with you when you come there. And already, I just want to comment that I think we are on the right lane. As you have heard my deputy saying that we have a youth quota for you, where 5 girls and 5 boys are nominated right from the, electorate. That's the first point of call. And we have another 10 women in our women's quota to make them 20, below 35. And we have 2 ministers below 35. We have 4 deputy ministers who are below 35, and 3 of them are girls. Yeah, I just wanted to say, if you come, you'll find somewhere to start from. But now my question.
The African Union age for young people is between 18 to 35. But at the time when I was thinking of starting Diali, I was not 30 at that time. So I could not mentor people that were older than me. I didn't have that experience to mentor people that were older than me. So I had to put it within the age range that I know that I could mentor at that time. But next year, Diali is going to be 5 years, and we have decided we're going to increase the age range now to 35 because we've seen the growth of Diali, where we now have a lot of mentors that are part of it. So this year alone, have about 15 mentors that have joined compared to before where it was just me. And so I had to be within my age range or below my age range. But now that we have mentors that are even in their 60s, that are in their 50s, now we can get women on board that are even up to 35 so that they can now be mentored by these older women. I think that's the whole point of mentorship. So from next year, the good news is that as we celebrate our 5 years anniversary, which would be in Zimbabwe, by the way, we will then be increasing the age range also to 35 and having more like a 5-year anniversary. So I hope I answered the first question. And then to the second question, thank you once again for welcoming us to Zim. But when it comes to the question asked for our women in political participation. So what we've done is that a lot of young girls want to even vie for of their school. They want to vie for councillor position in their different countries, but they do not have the experience. And you do not have a lot of female leaders. You have men everywhere. Like Maureen was saying, that in the entire Africa, as it stands right now, there's only one female president, who is Samia, the president of Tanzania. Before it was 2, which was including Salwa Zewde of president of Ethiopia. So again, our Women in Political Participation program is to have women like yourself mentor young women to vie either councillor position, even the health girl position, or hold any political post whatsoever, whether it's at the community level, even as a civic leader, whether you want to be a leader, however, in whatever space that you want to, especially, but politically, then we then get to mentor. We'll be launching the program officially in Kenya on the 28th of November. That's where we officially get to launch the program and then get to start to seek for funding, where we take the girls through an 11-month program. So it's going to be launched in November, but in January is when the program starts. So 6 months will be for virtual, where they get to learn self-confidence, they get to learn the various organs of government, because some of them don't even know the various organs of government. They get to learn the intricacies and the nuances of politics. And then the remaining 5 months, they would also go to their different countries to do a capstone project, where we are hoping that they can actually get funding to then go to their countries to then carry out a project linked to leadership or political participation, whether it's by calling for town hall meetings to tell people about politics, or to have meetings or capacity building workshop around leadership. Those are areas that we're still trying to work around, but that's largely what our Women in Political Participation will be all about. But I'm hoping, because what we're hoping to do again is to have graduation every November. So whenever we are hosting our
forum every year, we also get to have a graduation. So this year we're starting with next year, January, when we launch the program officially, we'll be having about 20 young women and girls from across Africa be part of the Women in Political Participation program. And once that happens, then we get the process, get to graduate in November of every year. So again, I'll be engaging with a lot of you before I leave this room today. I think that's the whole point of having workshops like this and having spaces like this where we can actually get to speak about it. We can actually get to learn about how we can actually move the project forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Program Director, for the opportunity. I think my closing shot would be that we really need to continue to create these safe spaces, general, but young women in particular, for them to act further with the older generation. There's a lot that they can learn. We need to engage further with them, and they need to understand that they are also part of the transformation agenda that we are fighting for. But lastly, when we say that we need to leave no one behind, we should understand it's also not one size fits all when it comes to the interventions that we are creating. We cannot use a blanket approach for women, for interventions of women, because women are not what do you call this? The same. You have women with disabilities, you have the LGBTI sector, you've got women who are literate, you have those who are illiterate. So when we are coming up with interventions, we need to consider all of that. And we also need to understand that women are not a homogeneous group. So whatever approach that we are using, it cannot be a blanket approach. Thank you very much for that opportunity, Program Director.
Thank you very much. As honorable member has said, I think we need to take this initiative more also to rural areas where we have women who don't even understand the legislative or the oversight we are doing, the role which we are playing as honorable members in parliament. So we need to take this initiative further, even to girl child, whereby we give them a room for them to be comfortable, even to learn or ask questions, how we did it, how we got into these positions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we really appreciate the feedback that we got and the impact stories that we've managed to share. Imagine if we had so many mentorship programs like the one that Mary had, we'll be able to achieve what we want to achieve. So without further ado, I'll leave this time to Mbali. Why are you laughing? Let's clap hands for Mbali. Thank you.
Greetings, colleagues. I hope you are doing well this afternoon. I almost said this morning. I am Balenhle Mkhize, DDP's Partner Liaison and Development Officer, honorable parliamentarians, distinguished guests, civil society partners, members of the media, all protocol observed. My duty is very short, so I'm going to take 5 minutes. I'm just going to give a conclusion and a bit of a summary of today's work. The ongoing debates around issues of gender representation, specifically looking at the equality of women through legislation in the 21st century, is of paramount importance. Although there has been progress through affirmative action, but the society is still dominated by patriarchal values. It is therefore important that we assess the misrepresentation of women's contribution in history, through their role in the liberation struggle for freedom, which is largely ignored in the history texts. This therefore makes this conversation about politics of gender representation important, especially because there are significant similarities surrounding this subject matter with women across all generations. It is critical that capacity building for women and young people in particular is prioritized by organizations such as ours, so that we ensure that the people who are leading the society are well capacitated, that they understand democracy, and they are clear about the developmental issues and how to better lead communities with an open mind and not to view public participation as a threat, but as an advantage to a better society where service delivery issues are prioritized. Or, I mean, it's service delivery issues are minimized. So just a few recommendations that I'm going to make, that we strengthen capacity building, where we provide training for Caucus members on gender issues and economic empowerment strategies to enable them to advocate effectively. The second one is to enhance collaboration, where we foster partnerships with civil society organizations that focus on women's rights to ensure comprehensive approach to advocacy and empowerment. The other one is to promote data-driven policies, where we encourage research and data collections on gender disparities in economic participation and political representation to inform policy development and advocacy efforts. The other one is to engage with a broader constituency, where we hold public forums and consultations to hear directly from women in communities about their challenges and aspirations, ensuring that the voices shape legislative agendas, to monitor and evaluate progress, where we establish a clear benchmark and metrics to assess the impact of Caucus initiatives on women's economic empowerment and representation, allowing for adjustments and improvements as needed. And lastly, to enhance women's Caucus visibility in communities, where we integrate DDP's women's dialogue with the work of the KZN Legislature's multi-party caucus, which will serve to prioritize grassroots development for women in politics. This will give the caucus an opportunity to engage with women and younger women in particular about the importance of strengthening women's political participation, leadership in key positions of power, social justice, and gender equality. And in conclusion, political party parliamentary caucus hold immense potential for advancing gender equality in Africa. By working collaboratively across the party lines, we can create a legitimate environment that prioritizes women's economic empowerment and political representation. This is an opportunity for us all, the women's caucuses as well as civil society organizations, to transform societies through fighting systemic and cultural gender imbalances, to ensure that every woman has a chance to potential. Together, we can build an inclusive future where women are not just participants, but leaders in our economies and government. I'm going to do with just as food for thoughts as we conclude our day. Which strategies, the first question is, which strategies can be implemented to strengthen sustainable development practices to achieve economic, social, and political progress for women in the democratic era? The second one is, how far have the affirmative action initiatives come towards equalizing the number of female leaders in the civic, economic, and political sectors? The third one is, what are the individual roles and responsibilities towards the promotion of laws and regulations that create an enabling environment to safeguard women's active participation and leadership in various sectors? And lastly, how can we encourage active participation towards the representation or the preservation of gender equality practices in the democratic society. I thank you.
Hello, here we go. Hi again. Sorry, can I just call on Honorable Kali for closing remarks and vote of thanks and plans for tomorrow? Thank you. Is she?
It's on. Maybe I'm not speaking into it enough. Okay. Maybe that's okay. But it's always a wonderful opportunity to be able to address a room full of wonderful women. So I'm not going to mention all the people that have been mentioned by every single speaker so far. I'll just go straight into the point of the closing remarks and the vote of thanks. It certainly has been an inspiring day filled with very rich conversations and meaningful connections with our sisters and neighbors in politics. I'm speaking at the end of the program, and I'm very aware that at this point of the day, everybody is desperate to get home. And for those people who are visiting KZN and especially Durban, I'm sure they'll take a walk along the beachfront. So I am not going to be long at all. So thank you all for being here today at the Empower Her Summit, Tripartite Women's Caucus. It has been an inspiring day, like I said earlier, filled with rich conversations. And I'd just like to touch on a few things a couple of the speakers have said during their presentations. The speaker did, and it seemed to be something that was echoed by a lot of the speakers who came to Women's Day function, when just we had this incredible selection of women who Women's Day function, when just we had this incredible selection of women who seated in couches and they were having really intellectual conversations, and the men all got up break, and that can't be allowed to continue. It's equal, but the power is not the same. And I think that is something that I want to take back with me and reflect. And I think each and every one of us should be doing that. Then when Honorable Masiko spoke about the sharing struggles and uniting for progress, it was highlighted that women have to work twice as hard to get the same recognition. And that sentence echoes the sentiment that the speaker had made previously about our positions being equal, but the power not being the same. It was the power not being the same. It was also touched on about the unprecedented heights of GBVF, and it is simply unacceptable. The stats speak for themselves, and it's something that every single one of us women must take cognizance of and do whatever is in our power to change. Honorable Maybe, I love that name. I love it. Sorry, you highlighted the struggles that women face by your very honest accounts in your country. But what I took out of that is the resilience that the Zimbabwean women have, and I take my hat off to you. I'm very proud to have met you today. Thank you very much for sharing. And I think we have to salute and possibly take into consideration your energy and your commitment to a gender-responsive budget. It's something that possibly we need to put in KZN Legislature. Important decisions. Can women lead? And the question is backed by evidence that we can lead. And where we have been given the opportunity to lead, we lead and we lead well. We lead well. We are natural born leaders. We lead our families every single day of our lives, and this must translate into the sphere that we have leadership roles in. I do have to double quote. The Deputy Speaker had, if your dreams do not scare you, they are not big enough. It's from Eileen Johnson Sirleaf, the former president of Liberia. And I love this quote so much. It can be for us in a political sense, it can be in a personal sense. We do need to dream big. If we don't dream big, we will never, ever, ever take women further and support other women and realize the dreams that we have. Next, we had Mary talking about mentorship and the importance of it. And it was so fabulous to have your two lovely young ladies here. Sorry, didn't get the names, sharing their testimonies and their journeys with you. And well done, we salute you. And I don't think the importance of mentorship, I beg your pardon, can be emphasized enough. Each of us have got the ability to uplift and guide the next generation of women leaders, but we must also mentor each other. There are incredible programs around, one of which has been explained to us today, but we also don't need to wait for specific programs. Women are by nature nurturers. We need to nurture each other instead of putting each other down. Together, we can foster a culture of support when we celebrate each other's achievements and lend a helping hand when needed. Our dreams are valid. All of our dreams are valid. And I just want to point out, there's a lovely young lady over there with a red jacket. She makes the most beautiful earrings. So if you can just buy a pair on the way out, she'll give you her banking details. I'd also like to extend our gratitude to all the speakers who have graciously shared their insights and experiences. Your wisdom and courage fuel our determination to push boundaries and advocate for change. Thank you to Mr. Nzuza and your team for organizing. It's much appreciated. I know very often herding parliamentarians can be a tricky job, so rather you than me. Thank you once again for your participation, everybody, and let's keep the momentum going as we work towards a brighter future for women in politics. Safe travels, and we look forward to more conversations and engagements in the coming years. In closing, okay, thank you. That's my mentor, who's younger than me. Sorry. As I close, I'd like to quote Helen Suzman. The true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. And many of the speakers today have spoken about how women are amongst that group of vulnerable members. It's not only in our province, it's in our country and in our continent. We must use our power and that has been given to us in our respective leadership roles to make sure that policies are fully implemented. There's another quote by a famous politician that says, if you want something said, give it to a man, but if you want something done, give it to a woman. I won't say who it is. I'm sure you all know. Okay, then I think I need to hand over to the speaker. Over here. From here. I need to put my glasses on now. Getting old. I'm unsure.
Honorable Omega Hogwe to please come up, and Ms. Mtetwa. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
As the Deputy Speaker have just said, that it's a token of appreciation and how we start our way forward. I thought that I have a firm belief, Honorable Deputy Speaker and Honorable Masiko, that utu utwa batomageba nendebe ezithe lapha emuva luyaqokwa. So we want to say thank you. We are one. And to prove that, we want you, when you go back, to show them the creativity of the women of KwaZulu-Natal, especially the grassroots women. But we want to see how beautiful you were on your wedding day. Thank you so much. We want you.
Good afternoon, honorable members, management and staff, our partners, all people present. I just have to make this final announcement. And as I do, let me just say I'm the secretary of the KwaZulu-Natal Legislature, for those of you who don't know me. As we close, we trust honorable members from Zimbabwe that we shall be together again over the next 2 days in Mandini at the Legislature's Taking Legislature to the People program. It would be an honor to have you present, and you will see all our women parliamentarians hard at work on the ground. Thank you very much. The session is now concluded. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. The session is not yet concluded. My apologies. Anyway, so without wasting much of your time, as the DDP, we have got literature that we developed. We have got the book that we wrote on South African Parliament, Politics and Democratic Governance in Post-COVID-19 Era, Challenges, Insights and Possibilities. It's a parliamentary book, which was edited by our director, Dr. Paul Kariuki, and chapter 3 was written by yours truly, me, Nyasha Mpani. So we're gifting you this book. Please do kindly share it within the library of your parliament and urge other colleagues to start by reading chapter 3. So I'll kindly ask the Speaker of KZN to come and receive this on behalf of the legislature, Dr. K. Dr. K.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
After the mic. Oh, okay. Okay.
Because
yeah. All right.
Secondly, we do ask Honorable Maybe to receive this on behalf of the Zimbabwean Parliament. We are also sharing a similar book with a very important chapter, chapter 3. You can go and encourage other members to also read through. Thank you. And then we also want to share a gift to our beautiful facilitator. She was singing very nicely. From the members of parliament.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We can't end on a note with deep voices. This was a woman's caucus, sang it. So I would like to close. This month, and just thank you for the vote of thanks. Just want to acknowledge a few people quickly before we close. Again, the Speaker of the KZN Legislature, Honorable Nontobeko Boyce, the Deputy Speaker of the KZN Legislature, Honorable Mabato Tembe, Honorable T. Colley, who's the Chief Whip KZN Legislature, and other members of the Parliament from KZN Legislature, as well as their support staff. Guests from the Zimbabwean Parliamentary Women's Caucus, led by Honorable Maybe Mboha, and the Zimbabwean Parliamentary Women's Caucus Chairperson, and members of the SADC Parliamentary Forum, Honorable Otile Sibanda, Honorable Omega Hungwa, Ms. Precious Sibongile Tetwa, Dr. Hazel Gooding, Honorable Claire Musondo, Honorable Angela Wambunga, Honorable Miss Mary Izobo, media houses, DDP, CSOs and partners, activists and citizens, and everybody who stayed with us throughout this beautiful, beautiful day. The marginalization of women in politics is not a new phenomenon, but an entrenched practice that has survived over time. 65 years ago, no country within the 193 states that I spoke about in the beginning had ever entertained the concept of a female leader. This pattern was only broken in 1960 when Prime Minister Sirimamvu Bandaranaike from Sri Lanka took over after following the assassination of her husband. Centuries into civilization and the formation of social norms and standards underpinned by freedom and equality, women and politics, or specifically women in political leaderships, appear to be an exception. Whilst women's role in society is not disputed, we're often praised as the backbone of society, nurturing, and regarded as the glue within families and societies. When we falter, the entire family unit loses direction and focus. This praise and recognition of our role as leaders somehow does not translate into the political realm. Today, I find myself hopeful that this is not only changing, but the challenge to empower her is in very capable hands of formidable and inspiring powerhouses. Malibongwe, Siyabonga.
Hello. Thank you so much. I think we have concluded today's proceedings. I thank you so much for indeed participating in today's proceedings. So in terms of tomorrow we are going to Ilembe district. I'm advised that the Zim delegation, the drivers are going to pick you up at 9 o'clock at your hotel. And then you're going to take a very beautiful short 1 hour drive to Ilembe district, where you're also going to meet your colleagues who are also going to be there for their outreach program. So we'll meet each other tomorrow at Ilembe district. I think we can call it a day. Thank you.
Nandizondwa ngabantu, ndizondwa ngumakhelwane, andazibandenzeni nakomakhelwane nandizondwa ngabantu ndizondwa ngumakhelwane andazibandenzeni nakomakhelwane andibize noma kumama azondikhulula ndisemzini wekhaya andibize noma kumama azondikhulula ndisemzini wekhaya bayandijola babantwana bathi ndikekezile emzini wekhaya bayandijola babantwana bathi ndikekezile emzini wekhaya andibize noma kumama azondikhulula ndisemzini wekhaya andibize noma kumama azondikhulula ndisemzini
Recording